Our presenter today is Dr. Joe Ricciardi, an operations executive as well as a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserves. Joe explored the relationship between love and leadership in his dissertation with the Center for Values-Driven Leadership. Here's what he learned.
So we're going to do some stage setting today, so you're going to have to follow me. We're going to travel a little bit, so I'm going to ask you to be a couple different places. So we're going to start out about 4 years ago in Atlanta, and I'm not wearing this. I'm wearing an Army uniform, and I'm sitting in a room with about 20 of my other peers, and we had all been recently selected to lead individual organizations ranging from 1,000 to 5,000 people. We had about a 4-day leadership class. There was some technology involved, there were some systems, but mostly it was about leadership. And at the end of the 4 days, the keynote speaker comes up and he starts talking, and he acknowledges that we had been there for a while, and he said, if there's one thing that I want you to leave here with, I want you to remember that to be successful in the jobs that you have been chosen for, you're going to need to love your soldiers. And it was the end of the day, and everybody kind of packed up. Well, they were already packed up because they were anxious to get home, and everybody left. Fast forward one more time, about 6 months. Same uniform, but like a hard hat and some other stuff. That's what I'm wearing. I'm in southern Afghanistan, waiting for a plane to arrive with the next group of reinforcements for my unit, about 120 folks or so. They come into the airplane hangar, and we welcome them, and we give them the introductory speech. It's myself and my leadership counterpart, my command sergeant major, and we cover off on our leadership philosophy. We welcome them to the country and tell them right away what the expectations are. With this particular group, after I finished the leadership philosophy, I stopped for a second, and I told them, if you want to be successful, if you want to bring everybody in this room back in a year, you're going to need to love one another. And the place got a little bit uncomfortable, and I'm looking in people's eyes, and I could hear what they're saying. You know, that's your patent speech? You know, you're asking me to take the hill, and you're saying, go love somebody? It was awkward. You know, another one I looked at, and I could tell they were going, that's all you got? And I didn't say anything. I just stood there, and after a little while, I think they realized that it's not that's all I had, that's all there was. That's all I was asking them to do, something very simple. Fast forward another 16 months or so, and someone asks me the question, well, what are you going to study? And it became very apparent to me very quickly what I wanted to study. I wanted to find out if there was actually something to that. Is there a tie between love and leadership? If leaders display love, are they seen differently by those that they lead? I didn't know the answer to that question. I thought it was going to be easy. Two big schools of thought, love and leadership. You do a Google, you get several million hits on each. But I found one. I found one that I'll cover with you really quick here in terms of definitions, that says that love is composed of 3 things: intimacy, passion, and commitment. And that's what I based my research on. Intimacy is that relationship that you form with another person. Do they trust you? Do you share things? How close are you? Passion. Passion is the positivity. It's the energy that you bring to a situation or to an environment. And commitment is that's what's in your heart, that's what you give, that becomes what's evident in what you're giving towards the task and to that individual that you lead. Those 3 things. I received feedback from several hundred people on those 2 ideas. How do they interact? And I found out that there is a relationship between love and leadership. In fact, there is a significant positive relationship between love and leadership. Those leaders that display intimacy, passion, and commitment are seen by those that they lead as better leaders. When you break down the 3 components, intimacy, passion, and commitment, they all have a strong positive correlation. But when you put them all together and you look at it as a whole, one of them shines through, and that's intimacy. Intimacy dwarfs the other two. So what does that mean? I was really happy I found out all these great things, but what does it mean to me? What does it mean to everyone else? What does it mean to other leaders? Well, intimacy, I'll tell you a story about intimacy. I'm going to tell you a story about a man named Dan, someone that I worked for quite some time. I'd watch Dan around the office, and he would walk up to people, whether in a meeting, at a board meeting, or if it was just out after dinner. And Dan would hold conversations with people that just amazed me. He had a large group, and yet I would overhear him talking about a child's softball game, a grandmother's birthday. I'd hear him talk about their work. What are you working on? And he would ask authentic questions. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he knew, but he cared. He cared about the people. He cared about their families. He cared about what they were working on. He was authentic. He was real. Different than probably some people that you have seen where they'll make the buzz around the office. They pat everybody on the back. How you doing? How was your weekend? Before you even answered the question, they were gone. You know, they went back to their office and they felt really good because they talked to everybody in the department. You know, that's not building intimacy. Passion, I won't tell you how to get passionate, but I'll tell you how to identify it. When you leave here, grab 5 people in the next couple days and ask them what they do. Ask them about their job. In the first 10 seconds, you're going to know if they're passionate. You will see that passion. Dan was passionate. He couldn't do those things. He couldn't sit down and have the conversations and ask about family and ask about work and ask about tasks if he wasn't passionate. It's held under the umbrella of intimacy. Commitment. Commitment is that 100% care for the well-being of another. That is that those individuals that you lead, that you care about them, that what they do is a reflection of you. It's not, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not like, oh, I care about Susie. I'm going to send Susie to a training class. I'll be good. That works. You have to know the individual. You have to know what's important to them in order to figure out how you can be committed to their well-being. If you don't know what their well-being is, you can't be committed to their well-being. Guess what? That sounds a lot like intimacy. If you have intimacy, you're going to know what the triggers for commitment are. They're all wrapped up under the intimacy umbrella. So I stand here today, and I'm going to ask you if I could leave you with one thing today. And that one thing that I want you to take back to your battlefields is, when it comes to leadership, a little love does the body good. Thanks.